Most of us go through life pretending that we're satisfied where we are, pretending that everything is okay, pretending that we don't have any special goals or ambitions or desires, when really deep down inside we do really want more. Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does. It's time for you to look within yourself and decide that I'm in charge of my destiny. So how is it that many times we block ourselves and we use these words almost like we're in a trance, like we're sleepwalking through life, that we find ways to cancel out our dreams? And I think that but is a dream killer, that a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of places we would like to go, a lot of things we would like to experience, and we just stop at but, and we build a case. In fact, I was reading something the other day that talked about but. It says but is an argument for our limitations, and when we argue for our limitations, we get to keep them. See, but will cause you to procrastinate, but will cause you to hide out behind fear, but will cause you to come up with all type of excuses that you can validate your inaction and not acting on your dream. And right now, more than ever, people need to look for ways to live their dream. People need to look for ways to make it on their own. There is no such thing as job security. There's no such thing as a storm-proof or tragic-proof life. There are no guarantees today, ladies and gentlemen. The illusion is gone. There was a time when we graduated from high school, you were told, go to college and get out, and you go and work for a corporation for 30 or 40 years. They'll give you a gold watch and you'll retire. Special announcement, that day is gone. That day is gone, never to return again. So instead of people living in fear, feeling stressed out, feeling powerless, feeling like victims, I think it should be a time that we need to begin to look at ways that we can become an active force in our own lives. Look at ways when we can decide to take charge of our own destiny. Look at ways when we can decide to design a life of substance and begin to truly live our dreams. And it's time for people to decide, I'm ready to get on with my life. If you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it, start doing research on it, start tackling it, start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you, to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking, so that you can begin to learn all you can about it. Decide that you're going to face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training is required, that you're going to go get that training, that you're going to get started right now. People that found the things that they love, people that have found the things that they can pour their lives into, those people live longer. I was in New York and I had to do a seminar at a special church, and a guy by the name of Reverend Johnny Youngblood. And I said, how is it that you were able to build this big housing facility and got all of the various community and religious groups together to have this dwelling for 2,000 residents that were once homeless? How were you able to take on this responsibility? Wasn't it overwhelming? He said, the kind of work I do, he said, it's in me. I've got to live what's in me. And I think that's everybody's desire in life. You've got to live what's in you. Life is just too short and unpredictable. But what do we say? But there'll always be tomorrow. Oh, no. There's no guarantees you're going to show up tomorrow. There are a lot of people who were here yesterday that they're not here today. There are a lot of opportunities that were around yesterday. They're not here today. Oh, you can wait, but you know what Abraham Lincoln said? Well, good things might come to those who wait, but only the things that have been left over by those who hustle. So who want to go through life picking up leftovers? You deserve much more than that. The leftovers is somebody's left you. So take it head on, begin to explore. Here's something else. Decide to do it now. Decide whatever you want to do, that you are now going to become actively involved right now, exploring the possibilities for you. that you're going to look at it and do just a little bit of it right now. When I decided to become a speaker, I didn't just quit my job and just ran out and say, I'm a motivational speaker. No. What I did was I decided to start looking at other people that were involved in the speaking profession. I volunteered to work with some speakers so that I could learn. Whatever you want to do, get your feet wet. Gain some experience doing some volunteer work in the area and find out whether or not this thing you want to do will fit for you. A friend of mine told me he wanted to have a restaurant. I said, have you ever operated a restaurant before? He said, no. I said, well, really, you don't even know if you want one. I said, what's your expertise? What do you bring to the table? He said, I can cook real good. I said, but what about the management side? What about the business part of the restaurant? You're not going to be cooking all the time. Somebody's got to receive the money. Who's going to manage the personnel? He said, you got it right. You got a point there. So this guy got a job in a restaurant in the evening time on a part-time basis. After doing that for a while, he said, you know what? I think I just want to be a chef. See, you got to find out what fits for you. Because you might decide that after you go up in there and examine it and experience it and get some experience under your belt on it, well, you say, this is really not what I want. This does not fit for me. So decide that you're going to do that. Right now, I'm saying to you, you've got at least 3 or 4 or 5 talents that you are not even aware of right now. And you'll never be aware of them unless you come outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself to develop your talents and abilities, to see what it is that you might have a knack for, that you haven't discovered as yet. See, most people never discover their true potential or their other talents and abilities because they figure that they're one-dimensional. And they don't try and stretch themselves and learn more. Guys say, he who learns the most earns the most. See, if you start learning more things and finding out and experimenting with your life and finding out what else fits for you, here's what you discover, that as you start working with it, and the more you do it, the more you realize other ideas coming to you, the more creative you can become. And then you say, wait a minute. You know, this comes much more easily than I realized. I've developed a knack and a style for this. Catch your life and decide that my life is beautiful, that my life is meaningful to me. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but because my life means so much to me, and there are no guarantees in life, I'm going to live as much as I can each day. I'm going to do what I can where I am right now. And whatever I shared with you, I read a book called It Works If You Work It. That's what Johnny Coleman said. See, if you don't decide to act on your dream, if you don't decide to make a decision to live your life, if you don't decide to step into your fears, if you don't decide to say yes to your life, it will never work for you. The time for just wishing is past. Time for doing, that's the time right now. Time for acting on your dream, holding on courageously. Time to face yourself and talk to yourself in the mirror. Time to look around and become creative and see what need or service that you can provide with high standards so that people will talk about you being a master at what you do because of the commitment of pride and excellence and high standards that you've set for yourself. It's time for you to look within yourself and decide that I'm in charge of my destiny. I'm in charge here. And I'm not going to allow anybody to turn me around. I am determined that I'm going to make it. And here's something, ladies and gentlemen. When you make it important, it's not a preference. It's not negotiable. It's a must. And when you decide, I'm going to do it, regardless of the opposition, regardless of the difficulties, I'm going to make this happen because it's important to me. I'm saying the universe will yield to you, and life will never be the same again. Live your dreams.